Well, it finally happened. The Seattle Kraken have been mathematically eliminated from the NHL playoffs before they even get there. Again, it happened again. And this is the third straight year that the Seattle Kraken have not made the postseason in their very young history. And it's just absolutely frustrating. Hello, welcome in to the Frozen Deep, a Seattle Kraken podcast powered by Up West Sports. Gavin Height, Christian Rao here. Welcome to episode 2. And on episode 2, we're going to talk about some fun stuff. With we got some 20-goal seasons to discuss, some first NHL starts and wins to talk, and then, of course, we got to talk about the fact that they've been eliminated from the playoffs. And let's start right there. Gavin, they are officially eliminated after a really, they got a win, but it happened after the Rangers got a final, another point, and they were pushed out. A terrible, terrible second half of the season, really after the Olympic slide, the Olympic break and the slide happening there. Just so bad. Take me through your thoughts here.
Yeah, it's nice for the boys to get that victory against Vegas. It's always nice to get that victory. They're in a funky spot where, the more games you win, you already know that you're out of the season, or sorry, you're out of the playoff contention, and every win that you're notching is going against your odds to get a good draft pick. But you can't not be happy about a Vegas win. That was great.
The Vegas win was big. The Calgary win that we just happened was really big too.
The Calgary win was big. But it's a funky spot to be in because there's nothing much more to look forward to other than Thursday being the last game of the season. So I want to highlight maybe some of the positives that we can take away from heading into a new era. Mathematically eliminated, we're gone. What do we like? Well, we liked some of the key pieces that we can move forward. We still don't have, and I think most of us Kraken fans out there agree with this statement, we don't have that player that's going to push us forward in the right direction. We don't have the franchise player that we need. And honestly, you need a franchise player, and then you need two assistant franchise players. And then from there, you can build off the team that we have. I love Eberle. I love Beniers. I love some of these guys. We have too many facilitators and not enough goal scorers. And that's really what it's kind of boiling down to, is a lot of guys that can, handle the puck and take care of it, but you can't put it in the net. But with that being said, Matty Beniers, 20-goal season. Jordan Eberle, 20-goal season. Jordan McCann, or Jaden McCann, 20-goal season. So a couple key things to take away that you can build off for next year. Very curious on how they attack this offseason, however.
Yeah, things that I liked over the last couple days. I mean, Berkeley Catton 1-0 in shootouts. That was nice. Getting that shootout win against Vegas. That Matty B shootout goal might have been beautiful. That was like from a video game. It looked like from a video game, the way he jumped at the end. Like, that was super impressive. And that's one thing that I know that we've been screaming at before we had this podcast. All we had together was a therapy session of a group text message. But now everybody gets to join the Frozen Deep therapy session. I was so just underwhelmed this season with shootouts in general. And then getting to kind of have start our conversations of fandom together. That was one of the first topics that we had together, was just like, man, last year, almost always, Seattle has just been so bad at shootouts, and it just carried on even to this Lane Lambert thing. How do they fix that? What is the problem with them not being able to figure out shootouts?
Yeah, and also, I'm going to go back and say I messed it up already. It's been lingering in the back of my head. I said Jordan McCann, and then I said Jaden McCann. It's Jared McCann, and I don't know why I messed that up. I've always just called him Canner. And just that one got away from me. Jared McCann. Apologies, because I know the comments are very friendly sometimes. So
somebody's deleting a comment right now.
Dang it. Apologies to you if you're listening, and that's you typing. But yeah, this has always been a problem since game one of the inception of this team. We have not been able to win in overtime very well. We have not been able to just put the puck in the net, but also put the puck in the net in clutch situations. That's why I say we have too many facilitators and not enough goal scorers. And I don't know if that's a coaching issue or if that's just the players that we're targeting for that specific time, for the overtime or for the shootout specifically. But I feel like you can strategize that a little bit better to help find, your first three being your best goal scorers that can actually put it in the net and help you win in the first 3 shots rather than going 5, 6, 7, 8 shots in. Hopefully, moving forward, we have guys that can ascertain to that.
Let's give a little taste of what we plan on doing this offseason, though. We're going to meet up and have another show later this week when the season's officially over. The Kraken officially end the NHL season. They play the Avalanche on Thursday, and it is the final game of the year. It's a 7 o'clock start time, Pacific time. It's the only one that starts that late. It's on ESPN. They end the regular season for the NHL, so a perfect time for us to have another episode. That's when episode 3 will drop. And then we will give our big thoughts on what needs to be done this offseason. We'll really set the table. But what's a little teaser from there? You say you need facilitators. You have facilitators, but you need scorers. Let's start with this right here, with the trade deadline piece. Is Bobby McCann the right answer for being that scorer? Or does it have to be even more than Bobby McCann?
Definitely more than Bobby McCann, but you've already found somebody that can score in Seattle, because we've seen the reverse. We've seen Morgan Geekie take off and just put pucks in the net for another team. And some of it has to deal with, him being on the first line with Pasta and everything, but also you found a guy that can score in Seattle. You pay the man. Like, you paid Chandler Stevenson for whatever reason, $6+ million. You pay this man. This is the guy that you need on your team. But also, we have to look beyond that, looking into some of the free agency. Look at the G tab and see who's kind of running those up, and maybe make your $5+ million contract per year AAV in that direction. And then also, the goalie situation is something that needs to be addressed. And I'm not saying that we have a bad goalie situation. We have 3 qualified goalies already sitting on the Kraken, but we have another one emerging right now in Nikke Kokko. I've been high on this guy for a little bit now. Seeing his numbers in the AHL last year, he emerged on the scene at 20 years old. He had a sub 2.3 GAA, and then also he had 1 game as a 21-year-old I think it was as a 20-year-old. I think he was the youngest goalie on any given roster at the time. Didn't have the greatest experience, and then we see him this year at 22 years old. Nikke Kokko is something that you got to mention. Him and Joey Dak could run it back, and I don't know what it's beyond that, if they're going to look at Grubauer in some other capacity, if they're going to look to get rid of him and move on. Sorry, not get rid of. That's a terrible way to put it. Move on from him and his contract, or. I just, the goalie situation is another one that you got to look at and say, hey, what are we tacking here?
I'm only thinking about Alanis Morissette when you're talking there, because the irony, the fact that we had to use Nikke Kokko in the end of the season after carrying 3 goalies all year long with the Cord and Gru and Matt Murray, and then having to use somebody else, well, it's just wild to me. And I think you're right. I think it was fun, and it was definitely cool to have those 3 veteran presence, but it didn't work. You are sitting at the bottom of the very worst division in the National Hockey League right now, potentially, having more of an opportunity to win the lottery than to be closer to making a playoff spot now that you're officially eliminated. And man, if you could imagine if we win the lottery, I mean, that's just a completely different story. That podcast episode is going to be super fun if that happens. When
we'll have the nicest cameras. I promise you that.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. No, the draft lottery I'm talking, not the actual lottery. But maybe we should play some numbers.
Oh, yeah. There's the draft lottery too.
I think the goalie situation is interesting. Like, do you move on from one? Do you trade? Like, there's going to be some really interesting. I'm curious to see how Jason Botterill is going to act with no Ron Francis, which obviously we discussed on the first episode, the new era of the Seattle Kraken hockey with no Ron Francis for the first time ever since its inception. Interesting. But Kokko, you mentioned, the first NHL start, he got his win. In February 2025 is when we saw him for the first time and the only time. He came in for Joey Decord after allowing 5 goals on the Blues. He came in, he only played about 29 minutes, and he let 2 goals in during that time. So he never got his first true start. He got that against the Flames the other night, and he looked good. I thought he looked really good. Really, the only goal he let up was in the second period towards the beginning of it. Just didn't adjust, I think, right. And it was a really good goal anyways, but he saved 26 shots. Not a bad start for somebody who just got called up, because the goalie situation right now in the entire organization is absolutely wild.
Yes, and that's the goalie situation is one that you could definitely have probably 3 or 4 full episodes just talking about. Uh Nikke Kokko was kind of written off after his call up last year, and I'm just sitting back like, why are we writing this guy off? He's 21 or 20 years old. He just needs a little bit, more time, more experience. And I don't know if AHL is the perfect place to get that next level of experience, but hey, we had Matt Murray and Philip Grubauer also kind of waiting in the wings. So there was really no spot for him. Found his opportunity and absolutely dug his heels in. I was a little bit taken aback just because of his performance this year was completely different than what we saw just a year ago in the AHL. He's now sitting above 3 in the goals against average category and everything. So I just didn't know how he was going to adjust to the NHL. And to be honest, if you had to, ask me, hey, this player that has sub 2-3 goal against average and this player that has a plus three goal against average, who's going to rise above and have their best first game in the NHL of that year? Yeah, I definitely would have gotten that one wrong. But seeing what he did the other day, that gives me hope. But also beyond him, I think that there's an even bigger beast waiting in the KHL, and that's Semyon Vyazovoi. The guy's been winning awards. He is, and the KHL is the Russian professional leagues, and that Russian professional league is very, very good. And he has been doing fantastic work over there. I know there's some contract issues and just the way that the NHL and the KHL have been set up. I think he has to play out his pre-existing contract with the KHL, which I believe ends next year. So when he turns 23, 24 is when we'll finally be able to see our first looks with Semyon Vyazovoi overseas, but that's another beast waiting in the wings. And I'm very excited about this goalie situation that they have moving forward into this new era.
Matty Beniers, speaking of him as well, you already mentioned he got 20 goals on the season. That came in that Calgary Flames game with just about 5 seconds left in the second period. This is his third straight 20-plus goal season, and he's the third player in Kraken history to hit that mark. McCann has 4. Eberle has 3. Interesting. Riker Evans had a helper on that one. He got his 50th NHL point. I think we saw Capo get his 200th career point in that game as well. It's fun you get those accolades. They don't feel as great when they happen when you're mathematically eliminated, though. I will say that. Matty Beniers has been one of those players that you've really hoped that he could just turn it on a little bit more. Shane Wright, another one. Those are the 2 young stars that you really want just to become the face of the Seattle Kraken. Is that ever going to happen for those 2? Or maybe we need to start biting the bullet and say we need to be aggressively looking in a different direction?
No, I don't think you need to be aggressively looking in another direction. Matty Beniers, and the reason why you drafted him number 2 is because he plays such a high facilitating game. He is the John Stockton with the puck. This is the guy you want on your front line that's facilitating the 2 high-end goal scorers. And we just haven't had the surrounding cast for this kid to enter the scene in the correct way. And he's still going to put the puck in the net at a very, at a decent rate. 20 plus goals a season is not anything to hang your hat on, especially from a facilitator. So I'm excited about what we can do around him. And also with some of the other guys. McCann is a high-level goal scorer. Hopefully we can get a full season out of him moving forward next year. Kaapo Kakko, we've seen him in a short period of time also be good. He had some injuries that he was battling, I believe, earlier in the season. So it took a little bit for him to get ramped up. And then, I just don't think we've had the core pieces around him. He is a centerpiece, in my opinion. I think you got to move forward with Matty Beniers. He's the original investment. He's the first ever draft pick in Kraken history, and he is still very good at what he does. You just need to surround him with what he can with what his game provides.
We talked about Morgan Geekie a little bit. The fact that, obviously he's with the Boston Bruins now, moved on, was never offered a contract after being an RFA, turned into a UFA. Boston signs him. I guess we should throw it out here. Do you believe that is that the worst miss so far in Kraken history? And now that we're in a huge era of potentially going to be an aggressive free agent model right now, who's that one player that's currently on the roster that could turn into a Morgan Geekie that you think that can't let them go because he could potentially break out somewhere else?
Yeah, Morgan Geekie was definitely a huge miss.
38 goals this year.
I attribute a lot of this to Ron Francis and the way he drafted in the original draft to get this team up off the ground. Now, again, I'm not going to sit here and say I have a better draft and I knew exactly who to take. We hired him when we put our faith into him, and it just didn't turn out the way that we all wanted it to. I think it probably could have done better to set us up for the future. And I don't know if the exact pieces that the Vegas Golden Knights got so many years ago was aligned or the same, but I think you probably could have attacked the franchise draft a little bit differently to set you up better for the future and help Morgan Geekie out. You didn't set him up for success, and it looks like they just didn't put a lot, like they put him on the third line, fourth line, and just didn't have a lot of faith in him. And that's kind of what they're doing with Shane Wright right now. So two names that I want to see emerge next year, and hopefully they're putting their faith into these guys, are Shane Wright and Berkeley Catton. I'll throw one more, actually. I'll throw one more out there that's not even on the team right now that should have been. I think he should have at least had a couple of minutes of ice time, couple games with the boys just to gain chemistry at the very least, and that's Jagger Fergus. Those are the three guys I'm looking for to see break out in next year. And I know Jagger Fergus just hasn't played any NHL games. You have no idea what to expect, but I could see him hit the ground running. The guy's a grinder on top of a goal scorer.
We got 3 games left. Monday, today, we have the LA Kings. It'll be the final time that the Kraken plays Anze Kopitar. Anze Kopitar and the Kings need this win because looking at the current NHL standings as they get ready for the playoffs as we speak right now, the Kings are on the outside looking in for the final spot inside. Or no, they're currently holding the second spot right now as we speak in the wild card. They're number 2, but there's still plenty of teams that can still sneak in there. Nashville's only a point behind. Winnipeg and San Jose still technically able to sneak in there. They're not eliminated. And we'll see if the Kings can hold on. So they'll be looking really hard to get that win against Seattle on Monday. And then, of course, they finish the season looking at the rest of the schedule on Wednesday against the Golden Knights. And then on Thursday, the final game of the season for all of the NHL against the Colorado Avalanche. That's when we will be back here talking to you after these 3 games go final. Do you think we see Nikke Kokko at least one more time out of these 3 games? I hope so. I hope we see him. I hope we see youngsters the rest of the way.
Same. I mean, there's no reason to put Joey Decord out there and I guess potentially risk getting the guy hurt and missing part of next year because of it. And also, you got to see what you're working with for next year. Would love to see any call-ups if they decide to do that over the next week to see Jagger Fergus or any of these guys. I don't know if they will, but would love to see as much new talent and just starting to gain new chemistry for next year. You're already trying to build whatever you can build for next year right now.
I want to see the Kings get that final spot. I want to see Kopitar at least get one more playoff run. And on the Eastern Conference, I want to see Ovi sneak in with the Caps as well because we don't know if he's going to be done or not. And they are right now on the outside looking in by a point with the Philadelphia Flyers. I can go off about my hate for Philadelphia sports, so we won't do that right now. But I do want to see the Caps sneak in on that one. We'll find out if who makes it, and we'll give a little bit of playoff preview probably in the 3rd period of that episode when we meet back after the season has officially ended, and then we can start looking towards the offseason and probably talk just a little bit of hockey because hockey will be going on, just unfortunately not Kraken hockey. But unfortunately for the last 3 years, that has been what Kraken hockey has been all about. This is the Frozen Deep podcast. I hope you enjoyed episode 2. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, drop a comment, let us know your thoughts on the Kraken so far this season. Well, really how you thought about them all season and what do you want them to do this offseason. Maybe drop your thoughts about the playoffs because hockey is 32 teams, as we all know, as 32's hanging in Climate Pledge Arena. For Gavin Height, I'm Christian Rao. We'll see you back here for another episode of the Frozen Deep, powered by Up West Sports.